Good morning, everybody. How are you? Up and Adam. Wake up. Wake up. Dolores. Good morning. Kelly Miller. Good morning, y'all. Went early this morning because I don't want to miss too much of Teardrop's trial. I see Emba's in here. Where have you been, Emba? I know Emba's been watching the trial. Good morning, Cece. Jane Bond, super cool name. That's actually our friend Amy. She says, "Oh my goodness, you're early. Yay." Bamboo Cat, what did he say now? I guess you mean Stacy? We're going to talk about bull rider Stacy today for a little bit. I'm going to try to keep it to about an hour so we can start following minute by minute the murder trial about Harmie Montgomery. Every case is important, but sometimes things are a little bit more pending. Not saying that this isn't pending. Don't get me wrong. I've probably already stepped in it. Good morning, Muscles. Good morning, Diva. Hello, Insanity Mom. Poppy's in the house. Indie Girl. How is everyone doing? I know, Joy. Look at me. Surprising everybody. Yeah, I made an announcement. I think in Discord and on Facebook, I said, I think I'm going to go early because I didn't quite realize what time court started in New Hampshire. So here we are. Here we are. Yes, I'm on the edge of my seat, just like you, Amy, if that fool will show up today. But who knows? Right now, we're going to concentrate on another fool. Well, 4 of them. That would be Stacy Wondra, Sarah Wondra, Brandon Shirtless, or Shirtliff if you want to use his real name, and Adrian Lucian. These 4 think they're very smooth. They think they're really slick. And they think if they just sit there and don't say anything or try to convince social media they have nothing to do with Michael's abduction, then they're in the clear. Well, they're not, because the agencies, more than one, investigating, know way more than YouTube. The agencies, plural, investigating, know way more than Facebook groups. I know that's a tough pill for some people to swallow, but it is the truth. They know more. Good morning, Zach. How are you? So let's get to the comments from the last show, and we're going to talk about bull rider Stacy. I think this is more bullshit. He says he is infertile. So he just thought it would be a groovy idea for Brandon to give him and Sarah a baby. Forget the turkey baster. They went all natural. Stacy even got to sit in the living room and listen to it. Brandon says he is infertile, meaning Stacy, because of a bull riding accident. No. When you're about as heavy as the bull, you are not going to get bucked off the way he's saying. Zach said, sick kid at home. Oh, Zach, what's wrong? I hate when the little ones get sick. Emba, new YouTube member, welcome back. Rapper, there's a rumor that Stacy got fired from her job. Well, Stacy is a man, and Stacy is allergic to work. Stacy doesn't have a job. The last job that I know of him having was when he was at the hotel, and that woman that runs the motel, the budget motel, and he was supposed to be cleaning around the motel, working the front desk in exchange for a room. Well, he couldn't even do that. She was yelling at him, get your shit, get out of here, you stink, you're clogging up my toilets, how come you stink so bad? Why are you so messy? So if you mean that job, yeah, that did happen. I got to hear all that too. All right, let's get to the comments, my friends. Well, first, you know what? Let's tell everybody TGIT. Glad you're here. Happy Thursday. So glad you are here, and I'm so glad the week is almost over. You know what this weekend is? Super Bowl Sunday. Our friend Kat is in here listening with her Kansas City Chiefs earbuds in. She is the only Kansas City Chiefs fan in the greater London area. It is awesome. Totally awesome. So what Super Bowl foods will you all be preparing this weekend? I think we're going to do wings, guacamole, just the high cholesterol stuff that we just can't live without. Rapper said, let's go, Kansas City. Let's go. I know I have, some people are like, is it them again? They've won enough. I'm like, hey, for us Chiefs fans that never thought this would happen, lay off. Half of them are Cowboys fans that say that. It's like, look, we didn't roll our eyes too much back in the 90s when you guys were going back to back. Let us have our moment. Speaking of moments, let's get to the comments from the last show. Miss Missy said, okay. I have family members who are and were semi-pro bull riders, touring the country. There is absolutely no way ever was Stacy a bull rider. Never happened. I want photos of him riding. Well, if you look at the thumbnail with him sticking his tongue out next to Sarah, that is the only bull he's ever rode. I don't care what story he tried to sell to everyone. Now, these guys aren't professionals, but let's just see how easy it is to ride a bull.
Are going to take some of these bulls that we roped and we're going to buck them. This is going to be wild. So you go, do it, boys. Woo! All right, we got the bulls loaded. We're gonna hop in the old ranch truck and go and
Okay, so that guy hopped in the seat pretty easily. So right there we know that Stacy didn't do this because he loses his breath just walking to the car. Okay, so right there we already have a problem. William Eyelash said, I think it was a mechanical bull at a fair, not a real one, silly. Not according to Stacy. It was a real bull. A real one. Even if it was a mechanical bull, I would feel bad for the mechanical bull.
go buck some bulls, boys. Woo! So we got Maple with us. She's sleeping. And then we also got my beautiful wife. Woo! Up on in here. So, how you doing today?
Great.
Good. So, backed up and let's get him unloaded.
He'll stand, get him to shoot for him, but as soon as that kid gets off, he don't roll.
So what we got here? We got our rodeo clowns here. We already know he's a clown.
Dude, I'm only used to the cows and heifers, and now we're moving up to the
and then we got.
Well, Stacy's only used to the cows and heifers. So we do have a comparison there. You heard that guy say, I'm only used to the cows and the heifers. Stacy is on that page, okay?
Riley here. He's a rookie. Yeah. And so they just signed waivers. And this is going to be a fun day, boy.
Let me tell you something. If a mechanical bull crushed his tender little balls, Stacy is one sue happy bastard. He would have been suing the bar or the state fair or whatever. Hell, he's threatening to sue me right now for hurting his feelings. You think with crushed nuts, he's not going to file a lawsuit?
Boys and girls, so let's see what we can do here. We got our bulls over here. We got a couple young bulls that we brought, and then we got some of the other bulls that other companies have brought. And so this is going to be.
William, are you trying to make me lose my religion? William said he was underage, so he couldn't. When minors get hurt in public places, the lawsuit is much easier to go through than an adult that knows better. Okay? Okay? Let's be nice to Brooks today. Okay, William?
Be fun. We got a couple young bull riders here. They're all excited. So, yeah, we're just going to buck them.
She literally will.
Go on, Dakota.
Okay, so you can see from what we're witnessing on the screen, this did not happen. The closest he has come to farm animals is if he went to a donkey show in Tijuana. Oh, Slim, you read my mind. The only thing he has bucked is, well, people in the boys' home that didn't want to have anything to do with him or Sarah. So we can put that to rest. I know I've had a lot of comments about his bull riding days, and I'm just going to go ahead and chalk it up to that didn't happen. Conry's mom said her foster adoptive mother certainly had to know that she can't follow societal norms. WTF is wrong with her and Tina. Tina is Brandon's mom. What is wrong with her and Tina that they can't see the truth for what it is and do the right thing? There must have been behavior that concerned them about their demon spawn. Comrie, you took the words out of my mouth. Think about it. Right there in your area. For Kay, who is Sarah's foster adoptive mother, whatever, she lives right there in the neighborhood that Michael Vaughn was abducted from. They know that their children, or as Comrie said, demon spawns, are suspect. They've got to be suspicious of them themselves. And they would rather go to hell for lying for their messed up children than do the right thing for Michael Vaughn. He's just a little boy. And they're protecting grown adults. It is sickening. In some ways, I think they're worse than the suspects. I know that's hard to say. That's a far leap for some people. But in a way, I think Tina and Kay are worse than the four suspects because they know and they know better, but they're not doing anything to help the situation. Ivy's mom said if they knew the kid didn't live there, talking about the child that they saw, could they have been watching Michael knowing he would roam around looking for friends? She said, I hate even typing this, but predators watch. This comment is so true and gave me chills. I do think that whole day was spent driving around trying to find a child. I do. But I think they had their sights on Michael. Why do I say that? Because Stacy said he was a kid, just being a kid, playing with a toy in a neighbor's yard. Well, with that statement alone, which just about made me barf, That means he knows what home the child actually belongs to. And I think we all can put our heads together and reasonably deduct that the child that he saw, which how the hell after all these years you would remember a kid outside playing with a toy, unless it's the kid you abducted. I wouldn't remember. I stay as far away from kids as I can, even my own. My kids are grown. So when he said a neighbor's yard, well, then he knew that that child did not live in the yard he saw him in. So I agree with Ivy's mom. I think he had been watched for quite some time. Lisa, thank you for the super sticker. Fan, where have you been, girlfriend? Thank you for the love. She said, always love mornings with Brooks. Every day, girlfriend. Every day. All right, back to Mr. Bullrider and his fabulous wife. Now then, tell me, who's the bull?
So sometimes we all ask, like, why we're here, right? We're all like, what is the purpose of me being here? And, I just wanted to let you know that, like, even if you don't know your purpose, like, your personal purpose, like, what you were specifically put here to do, ultimately, everything we were supposed to do for God here, all is leading up to His glory. So, if you are doing something throughout your day, and you're like, I'm not sure I should be doing this, or whatever, just think and pray, obviously. Pray to God, ask Him if that's what you're supposed to be doing. But just remember also that everything you're doing, is it glorifying God, or is it basically making a mockery of Him?
What a loser. Is it glorifying God, or are you making a mockery of him? Well, what did you do, Sarah? Every time they talk about God and what good Christians they are, that is to deflect you from what they really are. And that is demons on earth. They are. Remember what the prosecuting attorney said about Sarah. She doesn't adhere to societal norms. She's not safe in our society. She can't sit with us. Stacy is a dangerous, dangerous man. So is Adrian. So is Brandon. So is Sarah. And yeah, Stacy has been on this panel several times, but as far as some people out there that have really buddied up to him, it's dangerous. I would not want him knowing where I live. I mean, he knows what state I live in. That's too close for comfort for me. They're the mockery.
You know, it's a little frustrating to me. And it's been frustrating for a while now. When someone says, you know, you need to focus on the cross. No, we don't need to focus on the cross. We need to focus on the man that was on the cross. Because people seem to make, like, the cross also, like, by itself, like, some kind of individually, like, worshiping the cross itself. Like, almost like the Catholics worshiping Mary. Okay? No, we need to focus on the man that was on the cross. The Son of God. He's the reason why we're saved. Not the cross itself. The cross itself is just a piece of wood. Just saying. Jesus, Yeshua, Elohim, God of heaven, He's the one who saved us. You know, it's a little frustrating to me.
The way, so keep your head up.
Would you guys look at this? Watch him try to take a drink of his big gulp. And this is her man candy. Husband knows how to get down. Look at that. This is the bull rider. You nasty asses. And she wasted precious storage on TikTok to capture that moment and say, husband knows how to get down. Husband knows how to get down. How come there's no bull riding pictures then? Since there are people that are actually stupid enough to believe that that fat fuck rode a bull and crushed his balls. You got to be kidding me. Bull rider Stacy, we know what he rode. Have they thought that maybe his morbid obesity combined with all of his health problems, and he does have some. I mean, he's got ankles as big as my thighs. He's got some problems. I have a feeling with all of those health issues that might make him shoot blanks. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. If there is a bull riding video out there, I will damn sure show it. And I will start a GoFundMe for that fucking bull because I feel bad for that bull. Okay, we have talked about Carson before, and we're going to talk about Carson again today. Because while my understanding is, this is from my conversations with Carson. Oh man, look at poor Jonathan. I paused it at the wrong time. He has been fully cooperative with law enforcement. But has he? Because just in the short conversation I had with him, he's a nice dude, don't get me wrong. Creepy voice, but anyway. He knows these people way more than he wants to let out. Okay? Do I blame him? No. No. My last conversation I had with him, I said, you know, all the indicators, everything points to those four, you know, that lived next door to you. And he said, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. He said, it's been looking that way for a long time. He said, I don't want to have anything to do with them. Well, that's fine. But at one time you had a lot to do with them, Carson, because you were going to Ontario to work at Wondra's Lube. Yeah.
Conversation I had out, and then we will discuss.
Hello?
Hi, Carson?
Yes.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jonathan. I'm sure you're aware of what's going on around your house. I'm just wondering what's going on here.
Jonathan who?
I am a reporter, Original Media Group, and I am covering the Michael Vaughn case, and I see a lot of...
Before I get further into that, has anybody seen any of the coverage JLR has had from the border? That is Dan Rather 1965 in Vietnam. I mean, he is in the thick of it. I got kind of scared for Jonathan a couple of times down there. Woo! I got kind of scared for him. And Amy, I did not think of it this way. She said, personally, I am grateful to the bull if he stopped those two from reproducing. I didn't think of it that way. That's why I love talking to you guys. You see things from a different perspective. Let's just pretend that chubby chaser Stacy actually did mount a bull and rode it and got his nuts crushed. Let's thank the bull. Round of applause for the bull. Way to go, bull. We're just going to pretend that that happened. We're just going to say, way to go, bull, because we certainly do not want to further that gene pool. No, never.
A lot of activity outside your house. Can you just confirm with me that you're not, there's people circulating your name online saying that you're possibly involved. Can you just elaborate if you're involved or not? Or is this dealing with you and your wife, Dorothy, or is this dealing with what's going on next door to you?
Okay, first of all, I'm not involved with that at all.
Okay, that's
It's
good.
the neighbors. Yeah, I mean, it might be.
Okay, I'm going to turn on the closed captions. He said, I'm not involved in at all. They're just neighbors. Okay, so from the outside looking in, you could just imagine how scary and, well, frustrating that would be if your neighbors did something as heinous as what these 4 sacks of shit are suspected of doing. You know, then you get a phone call from someone saying, hey, around the internet, people are saying you're involved. Well, it didn't take too long to go through the neighborhood and realize where they were searching and that there's an RSO right there, which is Carson and his wife, Dorothy. So it was an easy assumption to make. Like I said, from the outside looking in, you would feel bad for the guy getting a phone call like this. And it wasn't the only one. Little did he know that Sarah told the police, he may have known at this time, that Stacy buried Michael in his backyard. His backyard. Well, we know that's not the truth. She blamed everybody except for B-Dog. Everybody except for Brandon. What does that tell you?
Going on outside my house, but it's the neighbors that are involved.
Do you know anything about your neighbors?
You know, I've lived here for 5 years, and I don't hardly talk to anybody in here. I go to work, I come home, and I don't know. They're just kind of weird people.
Like, what do you mean weird? Have you ever talked to them? Have you ever seen them? Or have you ever seen them going around the neighborhood?
Oh yeah. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I did some mechanicing work for them.
Yeah.
And other than that, went and done a couple taxi runs for her because she couldn't do them all. And other than that, I have nothing at all.
Okay, they start out just being neighbors. He works all the time. He keeps to himself. But now he slowly, the onion is getting unpeeled. Slowly. And he is now saying, oh, I did some taxi runs for her. Let me tell you something. That taxi business was up to no good. I don't care what Sarah said about, I don't want anybody in my cab that partakes in drugs and alcohol. I don't want that in my cab. I don't care that she said that because she was doing far worse. Hell, she picked Adrian up from behind a dumpster and brought him to the house. Thank you, Curse with Curiosity, for being here for 5 months. They are birds of a feather. Thank you, Tar Heel. Now listen how slowly we go from, I've been here 5 years, I'm just a neighbor, to I'm in the thick of it with these people. I don't think he has anything to do with Michael's abduction. I really don't. I could be wrong. I have no problem being proven wrong. But he knows way more. And I really hope, Carson is extremely forthcoming with law enforcement.
To do with them.
Do you know what led police to their house?
What led police to the house? Let me think here. I think it was the dogs.
The dogs. What do you mean by dogs? Who's
the cadaver dogs?
Really?
Well, the not too long after the kid came up missing, they had dogs because they came over to my house and asked if they could run their dogs through the backyard and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, man. I got nothing to hide,
And he did. He told me that they droned, they probed his yard, they ran the dogs through it. Now, he's a little wrong in his information. He's saying shortly after he said the kid. I love when they say that instead of Michael or Monkey. Even little boy sounds better than the kid. Anyhow, he said the dogs, the cadaver dogs, shortly after he went missing. We do know that on July 28th, they asked for all volunteers to stay away from Southwest 8th in Arizona. We know that that is where the dogs lost Michael's scent. Now, the dogs went to the Wondra's house and to Tina's house after the interrogation in May and the interrogation in November.
Yeah.
And but from what I understand is that they had the dogs and it took them right to their front door.
Oh, really? So that was at the time when he was just reported missing last year.
Yeah.
So what? And then the dogs didn't pick up nothing, and then they just left them alone, or just?
I don't know, man. I don't get in other people's business. I stick to myself. I go to work and I come home and I'm pretty much either in the house or over at one of my friends. And but me and Dorothy had nothing at all to do with this crap.
Yeah.
Well, he was quick to volunteer that. I just stick to myself. I go to work. It's crazy how the universe works and how these freaks of nature find each other. Of all the places that Sarah and Stacey would wind up living, which happens to be her parents' home, they were supposedly renting from them. I have a feeling no money was exchanged. I think they were flopping there for free. But out of all the places for them to wind up, they're right next door to two RSOs. Like the other day, we were talking about the Brandon interview again with JLR. And JLR was asking about Sarah. And he was like, oh yeah, she likes me. But I was like, I'm not going to give you guys a kid. That is a far, far leap from what he asked. So that tells you it's true. He takes another far leap and says, Dorothy and I had nothing to do with this crap. Okay.
And, that's why I was asking, because your names are circulating and people are just speculating. And I just want to get that on the record that, hey, you guys are not involved with, this at all. It's dealing with, the Wondras that are next door. That's Sarah and Stacy Wondra, right?
Yeah.
Has anyone else lived there with them?
There's been people that stayed there and lived there with them for, off and on, pretty much the whole time that they've been there.
Yeah. And I know police are out there now, I believe. I think they're going to keep searching. I was just wondering, what led police there now? You just said they went there last year with the cadaver dogs. I'm wondering what brought them back.
You know what? That I don't know. All I know is that the cold case detectives came to my house not too long ago and said.
Oh, I bet they did. The cold case detectives, as you know, is Chris McDonough and crew. That's the cold case detectives they're talking about. Whew, I'll tell you what. And I bet Carson about lost his mind when the cold case detectives showed up. The Cold Case Foundation. I bet he didn't know what the hell to think. Trying to find something to put on the screen. Hang on. Let's get back to this.
They were getting close and wanted to know, what was going on. And dude, I don't know nothing. I mean, I barely know him. I say hi to him, bye to him. And I told him I did some mechanic work for him and did a couple taxi runs for her so she can handle them all. And other than that, I have nothing to do with them.
Yeah. What makes you think they're weird? Like, what have you seen them do that's weird?
It's just the way they act and stuff.
Yeah.
And, one day Sarah, is, I guess, kind of normal. And then the next day I come out here, she's sitting in the driveway looking up at the sky telling me that the Lord's coming after her.
Yeah, and I noticed on a lot of her, she has a Facebook, and I was looking at it, and I seen like a lot of religious things, a lot of religious postings. But she did that, it seems like, after August of last year.
Just not too long ago, right?
Yeah, like I on her Facebook before Michael Vaughn went missing last year, nothing, no postings about religious stuff or anything, and then suddenly, starting into the late summer, fall of last year, it's nonstop religious postings and religious videos.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I mean, I didn't.
Very vague. Yeah, I noticed that too. You noticed it because you were around them and you noticed the transformation that Miss I have to pay for my sexual sins was doing, or your friends on Facebook, or both. Because, Carson, I'm not trying to paint you into a light that you're part of this horrid, sinister, disgusting plan of abduction. But I think you know a lot more. And I'm telling you, just the tiniest little thing, particularly the lube shop, could really help. Lisa, thank you, honey buns. She said, it drives me nuts when I hear people say creators should not talk to anyone inside a missing child's case. Well, I do too, because you see, criminals do not like to talk to law enforcement. They don't. But if they're speaking out publicly to someone who they think they can bulldoze or bull ride, like myself, or Jonathan, or Justin, or Josh, or whoever, then law enforcement, it might just be what they've been waiting on. Snow said, this is a whole ring of people, in my opinion. Yes. I go back to a comment we had a couple of days ago. A lady said, I think by the time this is over, there will be at least 6 arrests. I think so too. Because I don't see how Tina or Kay are going to survive this with what they have been doing. Crime Sleuth and said, Brooks, do you know when and why that lube shop was demolished? Hoping no latent evidence was destroyed. It was after Michael was abducted, and the owner of the property, he wasn't getting paid from the Wondras, go figure. And I think he either sold the buildings, and the new owner, I have to go look at my notes. Thank you for reminding me of that.
I don't know, never got on her Facebook or anything, but I noticed that, about the religion stuff, because she was trying to preach to me, and I told her, look, man, you go preach to somebody else. I don't want to hear it. I mean, I believe in God and everything, but don't come talking your shit to me.
Yeah. Do you know anything about their taxi business? I saw that they had some sort of taxi business.
Yeah. From what I know is I forget what the first name of it was.
I think it's called Faith Taxi.
And he knows the name of it because he did taxi runs for them. And I will never figure that out. How much business did they have that they were having to bring other people around to, of course, use their own cars, 1099, if you will. We work a little different around here. That's what Sarah said. How busy were they? Because let's look at the 26th of July. There was no taxi runs. They supposedly went fishing that day with no fishing poles or bait. Hell, Sarah had on a full face of makeup. So that was on the 26th. The 27th, Stacey said he had a taxi run. I don't think that happened. I think it was another fishing expedition. They don't work very much for people that are always getting someone else into this taxi business. And look at the people they employ for the taxi business.
And then they changed it over to face taxi.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the name of it was when they first started it, but then they changed it over to face taxi. And that was just, not too long after Michael come up missing.
Yeah, I noticed that too. What kind of cars do they have?
She's got either a Mazda or Toyota. I think a Toyota.
Yeah, what about him?
And
Okay, and the Toyota Corolla blue is what Brandon says they were in that day. That day being July 27th. That's when they went down to Nampa. They trolled the mall, went to Popeyes, dropped Adrian off at Applebee's, took the picture at 4:47 p.m. Then they left, went to the pawn shop, which I agree with Christina 100%. I think they had gone to Kuna earlier that day to find something to steal from Tina to pawn to get the iPad. And that iPad, if it's ever found, I have a feeling is loaded with evidence.
They've had, pickup trucks, Cadillac Avalanche, or not Cadillac Avalanche, but what's a Cadillac SUV?
Escalade.
Escalade, yeah, Escalade. Yeah, those are the ones that I know of. Matter of fact, I bought one of the cars way before this happened, though.
Yeah.
And Dorothy actually bought it. I went over there and talked to them because they told me.
I want to know about this transaction. No, it has nothing to do with Michael, but it kind of goes into just the way they operate. They buy all of their cars almost like Rent-A-Center style, okay? They're not going to Jim Glover Chevrolet and filling out a credit application, trading a car in, putting money down, driving away, getting insurance, all that stuff. No, they go to places where it's like if you don't make the payment, they turn the car off. It's like a buy here, pay here type of thing. And if anybody operates like that, I'm not throwing any shade at you. That's what they did. Now, I don't believe that any of their cars, they had the Escalade, the Sierra, the Corolla, and then another time they had another car that they sold to Dorothy. Well, now, how did this transaction occur considering they probably still owed on the car they sold to Dorothy? These are not good credit-wise consumers. I would love to know more about that.
I had a car for sale, and I said, well, Dorothy needs one, so how much you want for it? They told me, I paid them, gave the car to Dorothy, but that's the one she's driving right now still.
Yeah. Now, have both of them been in jail since the spring, or are they been out? Are they there?
She was here yesterday. I don't know where she's at today.
Oh, wow. She was here yesterday. Yeah, according to the jail records, she was just arrested yesterday. That's what according. So maybe they picked her up yesterday.
Well, they were over here. She was over here, so they probably took her yesterday when they were digging up the backyard.
Oh, really? Did you?
See, and I don't see how he doesn't know, because the police weren't exactly tiptoeing when they came to the door. There was no, hey, Sarah, you busy? We just want to talk to you. They busted in, the mofo. They busted in. Hey, Radio Gaga, where you been, girlfriend? Love the avatar. What did I miss? Something from Mermaid. Mermaid said something like, exactly. He said his credits of 400. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, for them to have a car that's totally 100% paid off, clean title, got it back from the state, so it doesn't have anything else on there. It's just going to say owner, Sarah Wondra, owner, Stacy Wondra, and not have anything else under it, like, also, Bank of Oklahoma or whoever you bank with. No, this did not happen. I believe Carson bought the car for Dorothy, but money was still owed to some shitty car lot. Well, I tell you who's not shitty, and that's our friend, Phil 413. You all grab your umbrellas. Let's take a little breather and say thank you to Phil for gifting the memberships. Thank you so much, Phil. You are such a big supporter of this channel, and I just love it. Nani had a question about t-shirts. I will put my email in here. Low quality items at high quality prices. Don't be shy. I've got something for everyone. Christmas is always right around the corner in the CLL merchandise shop.
Did you see it when the police came, or?
I didn't see him arrested or anything. I was at work.
Yeah. But I heard.
I'd love to know his work schedule. It must have changed from when I've talked to him, because they bombarded the house around 9 o'clock on a Friday. So maybe he had a different work schedule. I don't know.
Heard Stacey, her husband, has been in jail since spring.
He called me not too long ago and asked me if he could borrow my BMW for a couple of months because thought he was getting out in a couple of weeks, and he wanted to borrow one of my cars for a couple of months. Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Oh, really? He called you from jail?
Yeah.
Called him from jail to ask if he could borrow his car for a couple of months because he thought he was getting out. So we're back to, I barely know him. I keep my head down. I go to work. I know they've had some weird stuff going on over there. Well, Stacy has been talking to Carson up until last week that I know of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I saw that he got indicted by the FBI or something on some gun charges.
Yeah, felon in possession.
Yeah. Well, it's just the whole neighborhood's torn upside down. They're looking for Michael Vaughn. Michael Vaughn's family lived a few blocks away. And they're just trying.
Yeah, I know right where they live. They live right behind one of my friends used to live over there, right behind them. So I know pretty much. I don't know exactly what house they live in, but I know about where they live.
So at the time. So at the time when they were looking for Michael, they were having dogs all around your neighborhood, your street there.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, stay optimistic, and thanks for the information on these Wondras. Do you know their parents? Who owns the house? Is that her mom and dad that own the house?
Yeah.
I guess.
Matter of fact, her mom and dad were on vacation not too long ago, and this is when she got thrown in the loony bin the first time, and called me up and asked me if I'd go check on the cats and make sure they got food and everything. And I told him, you know what? I don't want to go in the house. Nobody's there. I don't want to go in there. Have somebody else do it.
You would have to know someone very, very well to allow them entry into your home while you're out of town to feed your cats, take out the trash, pick up the mail, whatever. Good morning, Shani. You would have to know someone real well. So we are more than just a neighbor. We are more than someone that just did a couple of taxi runs for Sarah. We are more than someone that just went to Ontario, Oregon a couple of times and did lube jobs. You see, because the Cold Case Foundation came to you, Carson, asking questions about your neighbors. Also, they trusted you enough to call from jail. Stacy did. Called you from the big house and asked to use your car for a couple of months. And Sarah's parents asked you to go check on the house, check on the cats while they're out of town. They know you well, and you know them well. Please be forthcoming with law enforcement.
Oh, so Sarah was in a loony bin.
Yeah.
How many
Twice.
times? Twice. Oh, wow. When was that?
Yeah, they came and picked her up and took her to either Idaho Falls, I think, or Idaho City, Idaho Falls, to some wacky place over there. And then she got out, and I think the next day or the day after, they came and picked her up again.
Oh, wow. When was that?
Just not too long ago, about 3-4 weeks ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So it seems like there's a lot of things going on after Michael went missing, with the religious stuff and the odd behaviors. And like you just said, the loony bin stuff and him being arrested earlier in the year. Do you know, did they fight in the springtime? What was that arrest about? They both got arrested.
I couldn't tell you, man. I don't know.
Yeah, they both got arrested. Now, are all the animals still in that house, or is anybody living there now?
Well, Sarah was living here until yesterday, I guess.
Yeah, and I noticed on Facebook she had a bunch of
Yes, Sarah was living there until yesterday. Now, mind you, this is quite some time ago because she was arrested, detained, whatever you want to call it, on that Friday night. That's when she said the Most High God told her that Stacy harmed Michael and put him in the backyard. They started getting shovels and digging themselves because her saying that is definitely a probable cause, and he'd already said it. That's why they were there. Then she said in the neighbor's backyard. Then she said Adrian did it. Suds said, am I muted? No, you're not muted. We can see you, babe. Don't worry about it. But interesting enough, while Sarah and Stacy were in jail in the spring of 2022, who was living at the house by themselves? What kind of rental agreement do we have going on there, Kay? You own this house and you're letting these imbeciles just live there? Brandon and Randy Strickland were living there alone, while Sarah and Stacy were in jail. Why would Kay allow Brandon Shirtliff to stay at the house? Why not clean that mess up and rent it out and tell Sarah, you're on your own when you get out? This is too much for me. I don't think Kay understands what she's fronting. I don't think Kay understands where her money is really going to, because it is feeding a ped ring. You heard that right.
Cats and dogs, or cats, at least many cats.
Yes, there was like 5 cats over there.
Did they have any kids together?
No.
No. All right. Well, stay optimistic. Thanks.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Are you the one that put my face and stuff on Facebook?
No, that wouldn't be me.
Somebody did.
No, I don't know. There's a lot of your name.
They were investigating me and Dorothy.
Yeah, people are at this time. No one knows what's going on, so people are.
Good one, Jonathan. No, that wasn't me. It was Jonathan. I'm sorry, I had to LOL at that one. Nope, that wasn't me. No, Jonathan, you were all over it.
just speculating, right? They're just throwing out names of people around the area that it could be. And, this is a fluid situation. That's why, I'm reporting on this.
Right. But why put me on Facebook saying I'm being investigated when I'm not being investigated?
Yeah. Maybe you should go out there and talk to the media and just go on the record and just say, hey, this has nothing to do with us. These are these next door neighbors. And we're not involved in any way, and then people will just focus on, them instead.
Well, they know who did it now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they haven't found Michael yet. Do you think Michael's back there?
You know what, man, I couldn't tell you. Like I said, I really don't know them except for, the mechanic work I did, a couple of taxi runs I did for her. And other than that, I do not know them at all.
Have you ever seen them fight with one another?
I've seen them yell at each other. I heard them yell at each other. I didn't see it, but I've heard them yell at each other, when they were leaving or coming back or something. I don't know what it was. I've never seen them literally fight.
Yeah. Has the cops ever came there prior for anything?
Not that I think of. I mean, I'm hardly ever here. I'm usually at work, so if they did, I don't know about it.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Carson, thank you for your time. Be safe, and I hope this all turns out well and Michael is found.
Man, me too. I can't imagine what his mom goes through every day going to work at Albertsons and seeing his face, all posters everywhere, and
OMG. He's cutting the conversation off. Hope this works out for you. See you later. Bye. I got what I needed. And he goes, I can't imagine what his mom goes through going to work at Albertsons every day, seeing his picture on all those posters and everything. I mean, how do you know where Brandy Neal works? Are you looking at her Facebook? Did you happen to see her at the grocery store? You definitely put 2 and 2 together. That statement creeps me out.
That's got to be fucking heartbreaking. That would kill me.
Do you know them?
I don't.
No.
I don't, but I could just imagine, what she's going through and, having to see his face in people's yards, on billboards, and every story she goes into.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole town got. Yeah, like
be fucking hard to hell for her.
Yeah.
And him.
So the whole neighborhood knows about this case going on.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
The cops have been over here for 2 days.
Oh, they've been over there for 2 days. Yeah, I saw them blocking off the street there, right next door to you. All right, stay safe. Have a great day. Thanks, Mr. Carson.
All right, what was your name again?
Jonathan.
Okay, Jonathan.
So you heard from Carson Starkey. Provided.
Very, very telling. Now, when I spoke to Carson, I asked him, because Stacey had told us that nobody borrowed Carson's truck that night. That when they got back into the neighborhood, which we know now from the timestamps Stacey sent us, they had a long time to do what they needed to do. From 6:30, they didn't return to the neighborhood till about a little after 11. That's a long time gap to throw clothes in the washer, strap up this junk Mercedes. Brandon already had something to drive. He already had transportation. They did not need to go get that car. It was a decoy. So it gives them an alibi. It looks like they've been busy with that car all night. Phil, you're exactly right. I don't know them, just where they work. I know exactly where they live. Yeah, right. So Stacey said when they got back, Sarah and Brandon took off on foot to go try to find the kid. Brandon says, Sarah stopped the car and said, there's a little boy missing. His name is Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know where he went or who took him? Okay, that's not something that somebody would ask. Sorry, you wouldn't ask that. That is not something someone would ask. Brandon said they went to Carson's and they got his truck with the light bar. Stacy said no. Carson would not let anybody borrow any of his vehicles. Stacy would know this because he called him from jail wanting to borrow the BMW for a couple of months because he thought he was getting out and he could do some taxi runs. Carson told him, pound sand. Forget it. Pound sand. I spoke to Carson. He said, no, even my wife doesn't drive that truck. Nobody drives that truck. Question is, did they ask to borrow it or not? And that's something that he won't answer, just that nobody had that truck. He won't verify if they even approached to use it. Sickos. Absolute sickos is what they are.
Following the Michael Vaughn case out of Fruitland, Idaho, I have some new information about Stacy and Sarah Wondra. Stacy and Sarah Wondra, authorities are searching their property right now in reference to Michael Vaughn. They are neighbors of Michael Vaughn. They're both in custody right now, Sarah and Stacy Wondra. But I want to show you something very interesting. I want you to listen to this video right here. This is of Stacy and Sarah Wondra. You can hear both their voices. They had a wedding anniversary on April 13th, 2022. Check this out.
So this is April 13th, 2022. Me and my husband's anniversary, April 13th. Do you see what that is? That is snow. Snow freaking way.
So they posted on TikTok. That was Sarah's TikTok account. April 13th, 2022. Wedding anniversary. It was the day of their anniversary. They are showing the snow in their backyard, which authorities are now searching.
Okay, and that TikTok tells me, kind of a tongue twister, that TikTok tells me they were not privy of anything that was about to go down. It's our anniversary. And look, it's snowing. Well, you know, northern states get snow sometimes up till June, you idiot. It's not like you just moved to Idaho. Then Stacy, snow way. Because, you know, he's so clever. So clever. They didn't know it was about to come down.
But they were also arrested on that same day. Both of them. They were both arrested on that day, April 13th, 2022. Check it out.
Let's look at her charges. April 13th, 2022. The same day that she made the Snow Way TikTok. Evidence destruction, alteration, or concealment. Weapon, unlawful possession by convicted felon. That's something about those felons. They just don't seem to understand that part of it. You're not supposed to have a gun. We saw it in the Dylan Rounds case with Jim Brimmer. Saw it in the Summer Wells case with Don Wells. Saw it in the Harvey Montgomery case with Adam Montgomery. See it in this case. That's why when people say, we need stricter laws, we have strict laws. Criminals don't follow them. You see, people like a Sarah Wondra or a Stacy Wondra, they don't care. They tell them, look, you are not to hang around other felons. Well, is it okay if I marry one? They don't. Are you serious? They weren't even supposed to be married. They're both felons. You're not supposed to have a gun. Well, what if I hide it in the crawl space? No, none. assault, aggravated with deadly weapon or instrument. That's when she beat Tanner with the dog bone. Controlled substance, go figure. But she supposedly gets mad if Adrian has a girlfriend over or Stacy's drinking. But we can have controlled substances.
You saw all the charges Sarah was charged with. You saw the firearm charge that Stacey was charged with April 13th, 2022. So they posted a video about their wedding anniversary with the snow in their backyard. And then sometime after that, they got arrested, both of them. It looks like it was, you saw, let me show her charges again. Check this out. Looks like battery charges and something, with guns or whatnot. So police probably went out to their home and arrested both of them and found guns on both of them. They're both in custody. Authorities are now searching their property. Just wanted to share that information out with you. I am covering the Michael Vaughn case, digging in on Stacy and Sarah, these individuals that are neighbors, Wondras. I forgot their last name for a second. Wondra, Stacy and Sarah Wondra. Are they involved with the Michael Vaughn case? Praying for Fruitland, praying for the community. Subscribe to my channel.
Thank you, Pat. Yes, let's light up the chat for Michael. Because these 4 suspects, named suspects by the police, not by me, not by YouTube, not by Facebook, by the authorities, by the people with the evidence, they are suspected of abducting Michael Vaughn, and obviously much, much worse, considering they are looking for his remains. As you know, they offered a plea deal to Stacy, which he was happy to accept. 15-7. Tell us where Michael is. He's in the backyard. Imagine his surprise when he found out he'd been moved. See, it wasn't a lie, because 2 people cannot come up with the exact same lie. Doesn't work that way. He's in the backyard. What did Sarah say? He's in the backyard. But he wasn't. Who do you think moved Michael? I mean, on one hand, I bet that was a big relief for Stacy, but on the other hand, it wasn't, because it was a conditional plea agreement. The condition was to tell them, the authorities, where Michael Vaughn is. I'm going to go back through part of this because I want to look at Stacy's reaction to when Josh from the lab starts talking to him. Because, see, he thinks that he's got Justin in his corner. He thinks he's got Justin believing him. Then here comes Josh, like the Kool-Aid man, and all the color rushes out of his face. He knows at this point he's not fooling anybody on that panel.
The house on Red Wing Street. There is literally, there's people walking around everywhere, of course. Sarah and Brendan said they were going to go look for the kid or for Michael. I said, okay, well, I'm going to stay here because I got to get this car unlatched from being in the street because, you can't legally have a car taking up the whole length of the street pretty much.
Right.
So I went and did that. Well, they went looking for Michael. They came back probably, I don't know, midnight, 12:30, said they had no luck on finding him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
crap! What am I doing? It's way too close.
I was like, man, who?
Mermaid said, I wish AB spoke to him. AB would kill him. He couldn't even attempt to be nice to him. He couldn't even attempt to play along and say, oh, that's horrible. Wow, you must have felt really bad when all that happened. No, AB would it would be like a 5-second conversation. He would just come right out telling him, this is what I think you are. I think you've been this way for many, 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 many years. I think you and Sarah were the perfect storm of entitled psychopaths that you're just going to take whatever you want. And you've had the right people around you to facilitate this. Look at all the junkies you pick up and bring back to the house to do things for you. Sex, cooking, cleaning the house, doing your taxi runs. You know, you name it. They're not paying the bills. Kay and Ed are. Pick up some dude behind a dumpster and say, hey, while you're here, we have some chores for you to do. Not supposed to have a gun. Obviously not supposed to have drugs. Why not? Who's going to know? These bums we picked up, they get free room and board. They're not going to say anything. They're down with the sickness too. I want a child. Oh, well, I can't because I crushed my balls in a bull riding problem. That, or it could be the herpes. I don't know that you're giving everybody. I don't know. Is it the bull, the obesity, or the herpes? I don't know. Well, then I'll have Brandon do it. Okay, well, Brandon's not getting the job done, so then what do we do? These people are sick.
Good.
Sorry.
It's okay. So that was the gist of that night.
Okay.
That
All right.
was really all that happened.
This is Chris McDonough from the interview room. You've met Chris? Okay, you talked to Chris. I want to play this.
Okay. Look at him. Look at that double chin bouncing off his chest. Look at that. Oh, yeah. He's like, I know him. He's like, oh, you've talked to Chris McDonough? Oh, yeah. I've talked to him. Oh, yeah. So now we're getting nervous. This is where you see the color kind of coming out of our face now. We're not spitting so much now. We're swallowing.
This little bit right here. And
no question in our research today.
Bear with me.
We have numerous eyewitnesses they saw him that day traveling eastbound on 9th Street.
All right, were you traveling eastbound on 9th Street?
No, never been on 9th Street in my life.
Liar. He said never been on 9th Street. He has lived in that neighborhood several years. He does taxi runs. Of course he's been on 9th Street.
It's not clear when or why police had spoken with Stacy Wondra. Do you know why she would say something like that?
I'm appalled. I have no clue. She's literally like...
He knew about this. And let me tell you, to people that talk to Sarah, she is pissed that he's going on YouTube talking about the case of Michael Vaughn. She's extra pissed, and this will get back to her, that Stacey ghosted her during our show when he said, oh, look there, it's Sarah calling. She's furious about that. How dare you, Bowie Bear, not take her call when you're on a live and you're about to spill some very, very pertinent information in the case of Michael Vaughn. How dare you, Bowie Bear? But listen to him. I'm appalled. I'm appalled. She said that. Lisa, you just brought me back to my childhood. She said, Stacy never even rode the 25-cent bull at TGNY. Maybe he was referring to Sarah being his bull. That's what I think so too. I think that's what broke his nuts. I think something made him infertile, but it was no Professional Bull Riding Association. I used to love TGNY. That was my jam. Damn Walmart. You ruined everything. You ruined everything, Walmart. No more Otasco. No more TGNY.
Gone cuckoo. I'm a very high believer in God, and I believe in God strongly. And God wouldn't tell a lie. You know what I mean? God is very, he
Well,
died on the
God
cross.
may not tell a lie, but humans will. Let me ask you this question really fast.
Go ahead.
I guess my question really is, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? I mean, you are a suspect in the case, whether
yes,
law enforcement has said that. What is it like? So you're doing I'm not saying you're doing rounds, but you're going on panels and stuff. Like, how is this going to help you? How is this going to help exonerate you?
It's not going to help exonerate me, but what it's doing is giving people my side of the story, because there's a lot of stories being told, but nobody's going to believe one person over the other. Reality is I'm still a suspect. And when it gets cleared by...
Reality is I'm still a suspect. No shit. Why are you? They had to do a lot of work and get a lot of evidence. A lot. To even name you a suspect. So if it's that easy to clear you, why don't they do that, Stacy? I don't think anybody at Fruitland, the FBI, ISP, Idaho Search and Rescue, Cold Case Foundation, I don't think any of them would be brokenhearted if they never have to see your fat fucking face ever again. You're a main suspect, dude. You're a main suspect. You admitted to seeing the child. Brandon puts you guys at the Chevron at 7 o'clock that night to fuel up. Michael was abducted between 6:40 p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. You were confronted with that information by Laura Mathias. She said, according to the police timeline, you were right there. You saw a child. But suddenly the child went from resembling Michael Vaughn to being a girl to now an 11-year-old Mexican. Way to go, Stacy. You thought you were being smooth.
Law enforcement, that people have a different view, but I want to personally tell people my side of the story, because I feel that's what I'm destined to do. Because I feel there's a lot of bullshit talk, there's a lot of crap talk.
That's what I feel like I'm destined to do. Nobody, you're destined for jail. You're destined for cold cheese sandwiches and half an orange. You've been bragging about all that weight you lost from your 18 months of incarceration. Hell, you're going to be skinny as a rail after your destiny is actually complete, because you're destined for jail.
Talk about each and every one of us. I'm just honestly going out there because I know what happened that night. I know that I know the whereabouts where I was. I know the whereabouts where Sarah and Brandon were. I don't see that. That's why I'm doing this, because there's a lot of questions regarding this.
Yeah, but you don't have anything to offer as to where Michael is.
I don't. You're right, because I don't.
So what I'm saying is, like, and the point that, I mean, that should take 5 minutes to say.
He has taken a polygraph.
I did take a polygraph, and I was very well informed that I passed a polygraph by detectives, by the FBI, by my mom, who the detectives told. I was also told that Sarah and Brandon did not.
Have you told investigators anything that you haven't told the public? And if so, why?
Not at all.
So your story that you're telling everybody is the exact same that you have.
Nope. He was only forthcoming with detectives, according to him, When they asked about the splash pad and they asked about Southwestern Arizona, he says no about the splash pad. Well, they give him a glamour shot of him outside the splash pad. Why would that be interesting to detectives? That he stopped at the splash pad. Michael wasn't abducted from a splash pad. Why would they confront him with that and him say no? Could be a slip of memory. I don't know. But they made sure to let him know, we know you're at the splash pad. Why would the splash pad and him stopping in front of it hours before Michael was abducted be important? Think about that. Thank you, Angie baby. Thank you. Because that day was spent looking for kids. That day was spent looking for kids. I asked him point blank. I said, have you lied to the police at all? That was on my first show. No, not at all. Then he pops over on Eve's channel with some coaching. I'm not saying it was by her. This is according to him, not me. To say that he lied about the tip he gave to the police about the backyard. He tells us, nope, never, didn't lie. Everything I've said, they know. They didn't know all that. Didn't lie to the police. Then he goes on a live and said he did. He did. He lied about him being in the backyard. Sarah said he was in the backyard too. Well, first she said Carson's yard, and then she said their backyard. They found anomalies, I can't say that word, in the backyard. The abracadabra dogs, as they're being called now, sensed remains. Some people will say, but it's not Michael's. They didn't specifically say it's Michael's remains. I don't know why Brooks reads into everything like that, because they never specifically said it was Michael's remains. Well, how many bodies do you have in your backyard? Come dig mine up. That's a big fat zero.
I've told in the interrogations.
Exactly.
And to stop an interrogation, what you did, you said that Michael was in the yard. How does that, did that stop an interrogate? Did that actually stop it?
Yeah, I haven't been interrogated since. I haven't heard from law enforcement. I haven't talked to law enforcement. I haven't even heard a peep.
This is something I ask about the wells quite a bit. Not crossing cases, just an example. You're a suspect. If you want to clear your name, why don't you? I'd be calling the police every day. Anything else you need from me? Anything else? Like with Don, Candace, and Grandis, I'd be calling every day. What do you have going on? How come nothing's going on with Summer's disappearance? He's sitting there. They have not reached out to me. They have not called me. Literally, that's the last time I got interrogated. Literally, Brooks, Dolly, Eve, Lauren, Josh, Justin, some other chick I don't know, can't clear you. Literally, law enforcement can. Call them, Stacy. They'll stop everything they're doing to talk to you.
From anybody.
So they dug up that entire yard, as we all saw. We watched them do it, based on just you saying that he was buried in the yard to stop it.
Correct.
So you tricked law enforcement into doing that?
I guess if you want to put it that way, yes.
Well, I mean, that's against the law, right?
I mean, do you think
so? You very well, you could and probably should be charged with that. But and I'm not here to like trip you up or hang you or be mean to you or anything. But how is it that you can trick dogs into hitting on human decomp. You can't do that. You can trick the police, but you're not tricking dogs.
No, not at all. But
And the dogs did hit, correct?
Apparently that's what
There
I'm
were
being
supposed to
told,
be
yeah.
multiple dogs.
So
according to-
you told them that Michael was buried in the yard, and then, which you say is a lie, but then dogs hit on human decomp in that yard.
They hit before I told them that. That's why they questioned me.
So they hit before?
Correct.
So did
But to prove my point that there was nothing back there, that's why I had them go dig it up. I knew there was nothing back there. I simply was very much so under pressure.
Oh, shut up. Like he's sitting there playing them. They said the dogs hit in the backyard. That's well publicized. We know that. But he acts like he's Mr. Cool Guy. So I told them to go dig it up. I told them to spend $500,000 of Idaho state taxpayer money to excavate the whole backyard. I told them to do that because I knew nothing was back there. I told them, no, look, buddy, they're not going to tear down a fence, disassemble your shed, and spend weeks excavating the backyard because you told them. This is not truth or dare, lard ass. I told them. He is such a narcissist. He really believes he has that power. I was under immense pressure. The same kind of pressure that broke your balls on the back of that bull. You had your lawyer sitting there, you said. Why would your lawyer allow this line of questioning? No.
I was being interrogated to the point of tears. I mean, for hours a day, for like 3 or 4 days. And honestly, I could not take it. It was killing me.
But I thought you said you gave them the tip.
I did give them the tip after they interrogated me.
If the dogs would have hit earlier, they would have just dug it up.
Yeah, that's the thing. If that's what I'm trying to understand.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so obviously,
I mean, they wouldn't notice. They wouldn't have known to search your house if they hadn't had it. If you hadn't given them the tip.
That's what I'm saying. I told them.
You told them, and then the dogs hit. Correct?
No.
Because the dog, if they hit on
dogs hit before, that's at least what I'm being told. That's what law enforcement told me. That's what detective
they would dig it up though. They would have dug it up if dogs would have hit. Just not so they didn't. They dug it up because you said Michael was buried in the yard.
Correct.
Okay, but
then they bring the dogs out there to confirm that hey, there is human there is they're hitting out here. So then they dig it up.
All I know is I told them that fable.
All I know is I told them that fable. All I know is I told them that fable. A fable? Calm down, Aesop. I told them that fable. There was no fable. There was no lie. Because they have evidence that Michael was in that backyard at one time. And you were incarcerated when they questioned you. All I know, you should know everything, Stacy. Your life is literally on the line. You should know everything. You should know everything. You should want to know everything. You shouldn't be getting your information from the internet. You should be calling Detective Crimino. He mentioned his name. Call JD Huff. Tell him I want to know what you know. Because I've got to get cleared.
That's what I told them. I don't know anything further than that.
And you
I
can
know
see
that
how
they
that's
said
going to
the
be
dog-
hard for people to understand.
I do, absolutely.
Because I mean, that's a lot to tell. I mean, to get an interrogation to stop, all you would need to do is say, "Hey, I want to talk to my lawyer."
And I did that. My lawyer was present with me.
No lawyer would allow their client to lie to the police. And if they're giving over information like he's buried in the backyard, they would want something signed for cooperation. He's cooperating. Let's get this done. It's not his fault if somebody moved Michael. Not his fault. It's not Aesop's fault. So if you go and he's no longer there, this old boy's been in jail. I need something in writing that with his cooperation, this is what you're doing. The attorney was not there because no attorney would have allowed this. No. Mm-mm. He was backed into a corner. He knew that they were more than onto him. And he wanted that deal. He doesn't want the firing squad. I've had those conversations with him. He says he's not afraid of jail. He's not afraid of being indicted. Let me tell you what, he's scared shitless of jail. He can say whatever he wants to say. Because there's a big difference between going for a felon with a gun as opposed to abduction and murder of a 5-year-old little boy. And he knows that. Trust me, he knows that.
Okay. I've got the clip where JD Huff said we have multiple dogs hit and we've got all of this based on evidence, it says.
And testimony. I mean, and that's what I'm really wondering is because like I said, this is just what I think. I think that you plan on being indicted like everybody else that was up there on those poster boards. And you're trying to get ahead of this thing, kind of get your story out there, which I don't blame you, but it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. I know it is. But what you're going to do is
look at this dumbass. Not Josh and Justin, Stacey. He was like, you know you're going to get indicted. You're planning on it. Just like everybody else on those poster boards. That's why you want to get the story out there, which is going to bite you in the ass. And he just kind of shrugs his shoulder like, yeah, I guess it will. Like when last time I talked to him, he was freaking out because he was getting ready to get kicked out of the hotel because he didn't have any money. He said, I'm a big guy. I can't sleep outside. I'll die out there. And I'm like, well, I know a place you can go and it'll be free. They'll feed you and everything. It's called jail. All you have to do is call. You'll never have to worry about a place to live again. Our friend Weston, Idaho will be paying the bill. Michael, Brandy, and Tyler will be paying the bill. Eventually, their children, when they're out and about working, Michael's grandfather will be paying the bill. The taxpayers are going to take care of you, buddy. But it's not going to be fun because they're going to find out what you did. They're going to find out what you're in there for. Kat said Stacy's lawyer told him he's not allowed to do any more interviews on YouTube or they're not going to represent him pro bono. Yes, Timu Lawyers R Us. Funny about that make-believe attorney. He only wants him not talking to creators that aren't so nice to Stacy. Law enforcement wants him to talk, I'm sure. Let him talk. That's what they need. Yeah, he uses that lawyer card very conveniently.
So since there's 4 different people involved, what's going to end up happening is you guys are all going to start throwing each other under the bus. You're kind of Brandon was the first one. Then it's you because you're out of jail now. And Adrian eventually at trial or whatever is happening here. But what I'm saying is I don't understand why anybody would tell the police that there's a kid buried in the yard to stop an interrogation. What good does that do? Did that help you in some way?
The probable
because why
David,
you wouldn't tell him that unless he was actually buried in that yard.
He wasn't.
He wasn't when they went back, but he was at one point, according to the dogs.
the
and
problem,
to you.
The problem is how is he not? I mean, how is he not found? I mean, he obviously was in that yard at some point. Investigators and dogs and everyone picked it up. Now, maybe you didn't have nothing to do with it, but somebody at that house did. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And who was it?
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm telling my side, because I know for a fact, and per the posters and the pictures and everything that I posted that I sent to Justin, like I had nothing to do with this boy's disappearance. I had no knowledge of him being
Idiot. Those timestamps were for hours after Michael was abducted. Now, if you had a timestamp of yourself in Boise at 6:40 p.m., my eyebrows will be raised. But you have yourself on Highway 16 at 9:56 p.m. That does not clear you of anything. That actually gives you more time. And nothing is worse on a criminal's resume than more time. The more time they have, the more devil's work they can do. But hey, thank you for that. Thank you. As if law enforcement didn't already have it, you fool. You think all that 18 months you were in jail, they didn't think to go through your damn phone? You're really thinking that you have presented new information to law enforcement? They have the damn FBI.
being buried. If he was buried, that's news to me. And what's weird about it is our neighborhood, like they have cameras that like from Sky Camera, whatever it is, that you can see into the backyard. There was no dig holes. My dog Oakley, it was a digger, but she dug right when you walked out the front patio where the dead spot is, where the barbecue was.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now,
it was dead because the barbecue we had 2 barbecues at the time, and one.
Now, let's talk about the barbecue. The argument ensued between Tanner and Sarah because he wanted to cook outside. Shouldn't be a problem, I wouldn't think. He was moving the barbecue. She got mad. There was other arguments going on, but that really set her off that he was moving the barbecue. I think the barbecue was there so Oakley didn't dig in that area. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. So she starts beating him with the dog bone, and he's not having that, and they go to jail. Because Oakley dug all over that backyard. They can't have Oakley digging where Michael is.
One was sitting on the grass.
One of the things. Oh, sorry. Just.
One was sitting on the grass. This barbecue situation is more important than we realize.
How is he not found? I mean, he obviously was in that yard at some point. Investigators and dogs and everyone picked it up. Now, maybe you didn't have nothing to do with it, but somebody at that house did. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And who was it?
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm telling my side, because I know for a fact, and per the posters and the pictures and everything that I posted that I sent to Justin, like I had nothing to do with this boy's disappearance. I had no knowledge of him being buried. If he was buried, that's news to me. And what's weird about it is our neighborhood, like they have cameras that like from Sky Cam or whatever it is, that you can see into the backyard. There was no dig holes. My dog Oakley, it was a digger, but she dug right when you walked out the front patio where the dead spot is, where the barbecue was.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now,
it was dead because the barbecue we had two barbecues at the time, and one was sitting on the grass.
One of
didn't
the
this have to
things.
do-
Oh, sorry,
sorry.
Justin.
Go ahead, Josh.
Well,
Okay, and that's an easy statement to miss when you're in the midst of the conversation. And one of the barbecues is sitting in the grass. My girl Tiff is here. So he makes a point of that. Remember, one of the barbecues was sitting in the grass. What did Sarah and Stacey lose their cool with Tanner over? Moving the barbecue. And Tiffany, you're exactly right. This dude cannot walk down 3 stairs without losing his breath. So who helped dig the hole? Brandon? Sarah didn't do shit. Sarah's 100% a part of it, but Sarah's not going to do that. It is just my opinion. That grill was put there so Oakley wouldn't dig in that area. Who the hell puts their barbecue grill out in the middle of the yard and just over on some grass? He said a dead area. Yet he makes it sound like it's Southern Hills Golf Course back there. And the anniversary video we saw, it shows the barbecue.
One of the things that the dog would do is when they're sniffing in the yard, not only would they do that, at any point, if he was in the house at all, if Michael was in your house, the dogs would hit at the front porch. Did they?
No, not to my knowledge. No.
I think they hit beside the front porch.
Oh, okay. So that would indicate that he was near the house. So Michael, I mean, let's just be honest here. Michael was around that house.
Huh?
Michael was around that house. The dogs aren't going to hit just for no reason unless you buried somebody else back there.
I don't know. I have no information to give to that. Like I told everybody and anybody on here, if I knew something about this, because I am in no way okay with abducting a child, killing him, burying him. I would bury somebody else for doing that to somebody like that.
Now, the probable cause happened, David.
This is a very telling statement. Okay, the dead area where the barbecue grill is, I 100% believe, I can be proven wrong, doesn't bother me, that barbecue grill was put there so the dog wouldn't dig that area up. He just said, I would bury somebody else. Well, who'd you bury in the first place? I would bury somebody else. Listen to how he says it.
Just for no reason unless you buried somebody else back there.
I don't know. I have no information to give to that. Like I told everybody and anybody on here, if I knew something about this, because I am in no way okay with abducting a child, killing him, burying him.
I'm in no way okay with abducting a child, killing and burying him. He said it, not me. I'm just repeating what he said. Mary said, what is so incredibly hard to be the first to come forward to Ellie so you can clear your name. Please, Stacey, call Ellie ASAP and clear it up if you're innocent. Or just do the right thing. First to talk, first to walk. Good morning, Madam Secretary. She said, good morning. My heart hurts for Harmony, Monkey, and Summer. Monsters still roam the earth.
Would bury somebody else for doing that to somebody like that.
I would bury somebody else for doing something like that.
Now, the probable
I
cause
would be-
affidavit, David, it says that you spoke to them while you were not in custody about this.
I gave them permission
Okay, maybe that's what
to
that
search the house when Sarah got arrested.
Mhm.
I didn't get arrested. She got arrested April 13th of 2022. I got arrested May 6th of 2022.
Okay. All right.
Do you expect to be indicted for this?
I was going to ask the
I mean,
If I am-
obviously you have an idea that you're probably, or else you wouldn't be doing this. I mean, let's just, I've seen
doing
this
this
before.
to tell my side of the story. And if I'm indicted, they've got a long road ahead of them with going to trial.
Well, I mean, not really. If you told him that he was in the yard, I mean, you're going to be charged with lying to investigators if that's what you did. And that's a serious crime too.
And if I am, I am. I own up to that.
This
I take
is in
accountability.
October. Prosecutors on the investigation.
I like how Josh said that to him because this is Stacy trying to be the tough guy. You know, he's always got a lawyer in his back pocket, which is total BS. No lawyer, whether it's pro bono, paid for by the state, or private attorney, would allow a client, someone that they have to defend in court eventually, to talk to anybody without them knowing what the conversation is going to be. But I love when he goes, it's going to be a long road for them. It's already been a long road for them. It's also been a long road for Michael and his family. And Josh knows it wasn't a lie. He knows it wasn't a lie because the dogs aren't going to say Michael was there if he wasn't. Gonna sue. He's gonna sue the FBI. Gonna sue ISP. Gonna sue Fruitland. Gonna sue that bastard Chris McDonough. He's really pissed at him. Boy, he had some nerve bothering his jail TV time and talking to him. Gonna sue them all. They got a long road ahead of them. There goes Josh going, well, really, it's not because you told him he was in the backyard and the dogs know he was. So sue now. Get your pro bono attorney to start suing. Exactly, Nene. Why don't you've got time on your hands right now? All you're doing is messaging people on Facebook, grifting money for hotel rooms in America. That's all you're doing now. Why don't you use up some of that phone to call your attorney and say, I need to sue these people. You already said you're going to sue me. Sue me, sue Josh. Don't forget that bastard Chris McDonough, that detective with the long hair that you talk about all the time. Get on it. Get on it. I fully encourage it.
Over Michael says, quote, I expect to charge it.
I mean, they put 4 posters up of people, and I'm not saying you don't have the right to defend yourself. You absolutely do. And if you have nothing to do with this, all that should come out eventually. But I don't know. I'm not really sure why. I just don't. I can't get past like how you would just say, hey, yeah, he's in the yard.
And how Sarah would say, yeah, he's in the yard. So you both said it. Wasn't just Stacy. Not only did Sarah say he's in the yard, she tried to say he was in Carson's yard, but now he's in their yard. But she didn't murder anyone, she said. Stacy did. Then she said Adrian did. She still has the hots for Brandon. She still has the hots for Brandon. Playing Brandon against Sarah would make her crack because she still has the hots for Brandon.
I literally made that up.
And
There was
then
no
dogs
there was
literally
nothing
hit
behind it.
on human decomposition.
Yeah, that's the problem is if you made it up and he was actually in the backyard, I mean, you know what I mean? You know what I mean, Stacey?
I feel you, and I get that, but
And that's like that's a hell of a
I
coincidence.
gave him a direction. Okay, this is where I know that it was a lie, because that dog may have hit in the backyard, but the direction and area that I pointed to him, the dogs did not hit around at that house in the backyard. I told them he was literally buried directly across from the patio.
Well, who do you think did this?
I don't know.
Is
I
it
know
some- do you think it was somebody in the house?
I know Adrian has, according to detectives and what I've been told by them, that Adrian has a huge history of human trafficking. So I wouldn't.
Drug trafficking. Drug trafficking. Literally. I searched high and low to find anything on Adrian Lucian. It's drug trafficking. Not saying that Adrian is salt of the earth, cream of the crop type of dude. He's a bastard too. Not as big of a bastard as that Chris McDonough that Stacy Wondra hates so much. Actually, I'd say Chris McDonough is a much better human being than Adrian, Brandon, Sarah, or Stacy, literally. But he goes, literally. Look, the dogs hit in your backyard. Experts realize the anomalies, as they call it, in the backyard had to do with something being buried there at one time. That between that and the dogs sensing Michael, or hey, like a couple other creators say, maybe it wasn't Michael back there. Well, that just makes it so much better, does it not? Woo! That just makes it so much better. Literally.
Couldn't put it past him.
Oh.
But the matter of the fact is when and how he would get away with doing something like that, because I have no knowledge of any of this.
Okay. All right. Let me just play this. And this was what they said.
Everybody, I just wanted to start out by saying thank you.
Let me.
And it remains very active and an ongoing investigation. You can't take one of our most precious citizens from us and ever expect us to stop. During the course of this investigation to date, we received credible information that the remains of Michael Vaughn could be found in the backyard at 1102 Red Wing Street in Fruitland.
Can you pause that for a second?
As a result, the Fruitland Police Department obtained a search.
Why it says that they received credible information. So that's based on your tip alone, yeah?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Okay. I was just checking.
Okay.
Search warrant for the residence along with the front and backyards. That search warrant was served on November 11th. It was a Friday. We served that late in the evening. Upon entry, officers encountered Sarah Wondra, one of the known occupants of the home, and Sarah was subsequently arrested based on probable cause that she had knowledge of Michael's death and failed to report that death to law enforcement.
What would the probable cause be?
Him.
That statement right there between Justin and Josh, I don't know if they realized what they did, but they literally put him over the top. Justin said, I wonder what the probable cause was. Josh goes, Him. Him. He's the probable cause. Old Bowie Bear, when he was confronted in jail, he didn't like that. He was singing like a canary. He thought they were going to buy everything he had to say hook, line, and sinker. Imagine the look on his face when he found out that Michael was no longer in his yard. It was a big deal for some reason in the spring of 2022 when Tanner wanted to move that barbecue grill from the dead spot in the yard. I bet you $1 to a donut that dead spot is where the dogs hit. What do you all think? Stacy was so close to getting a plea deal too. So close. And hey, maybe the prosecuting attorney will be kind to him and say, look, you did try to help us out, so I'm not going to recommend the firing squad for you. Maybe. Maybe their patience has run out. Chief Huff said in this press conference, the time to talk is coming to the end. And that was in 2022. This is February of 2024. I think we need to look more at this barbecue grill. Talk to Tanner Butler. Know more about the argument. Why he got beat up with a dog bone because he wanted to move the barbecue grill. Nobody would really get that upset about that. The grill was only there in such an odd spot because they did not want the dog digging in that area. You're right, Chrissy. Chrissy said, I think everything is starting to make more sense, but it's just heart-wrenching. It is. Mermaid wants to get into the hot tub with Brandon, and she's got a 12-pack. Way to go, Mermaid. Taking one for the team. Woo, Mermaid. He won't know what he got into. You're a gorgeous lady. He's used to stuff like Sarah. I've seen his other girlfriends. Nothing to write home about. So I think we need to talk more about this barbecue grill. But today's not the day. I'm going to start closing this down. That's all I got. That's all I got. But we will be right back because we are going to talk about Harmony Montgomery. Harmony Montgomery. So as if our stomachs weren't already pitted talking about the horrific case of Michael Vaughn, you got a double dose today, my friends. You got a double dose. And yes, you are right. Voice for the voiceless. She goes, this guy shaking my head, his ever-changing stories. Yep. Well, maybe all the herps did that to him. I don't know. But I'll see you guys back here in about 10 minutes. Don't miss me too much in 10 minutes, but thank you so much for being here. Never giving up on the case of Michael Vaughn. Let me tell you what, you guys, you are warriors. You guys are like Tina Turner in Thunderdome. Because when people were coming after us left and right, saying, you know the parents did this, oh, you guys weren't having it. And where are they now? Look at our chat now. Look at them. That's because of you. All right, see you back here in about 10. Thank you, mods. Thank you, new members. Thank you for the donations to the channel. Be right back. You guys are the best. Love ya.